Friday, February the 24th, 2023. That's February almost over. And today I'm down in West Sussex, about to undertake a walk I last did 12.5 years ago, 2010, in the days when YouTube used to give you 10 minutes to upload. So this is currently a two-part video as it exists that needs making into one. So that's why I'm redoing it today after all that time. Bit of a grey day, overcast, quite chilly. Wind chill makes it about 4 or 5 at the moment, but thankfully no rain forecast. Anyway, stress that word forecast. Walk is about 10.5 miles. It's now 11:30, so it should be done by 5ish. Of course the evenings are stretching out now, which is brilliant. So yeah, looking forward to redoing this walk, although I am conscious that there may be some footpath closures. I had a little look on the website, so I'm hoping they don't affect this route. Interesting little library here on the platform. When you're waiting for your train, read a book or even take it with you and return it later. Good idea. That Amazon collection point certainly wasn't here 12.5 years ago. Sign of the times. Okay, at the end of the station car park, take this right downhill, which is familiar terrain. We walked here quite recently. There are a couple of stiles very early here in the walk, but these can be bypassed, as can these steps down. Instructions are given in the notes, which I'm following at the moment, although thereafter I'll be on a GPX track. Now, upon reaching Rocks Lane here, quite wet as you can see, we do a right this time, whereas last time I went straight on. Nicely wooded on my left. Now passing under the railway line. Across the main London road. Follow this finger post up into the village. That's how far we are from London. Passing the tea rooms, which are open. And opposite, a fish and chip van. And an information panel here about Balcombe. Google that for further information. Self-explanatory. They certainly like reading in Balcombe. Passing the Half Moon Inn here at this junction. Passing an old house here. Well, in fact, you don't pass that old house. I was going down the wrong road. This is the road you want, passing the Balcombe stores, because there is building development going on behind these trees. In the grounds of Balcombe House, where we turn right here, going down this lane. So at this 3-arm finger post, go through the rusty gate here, not right down that lane. And this is the vista you get. Pretty decent one, albeit on an overcast day. And a lovely pine's been felled here. probably to clear the view for the house just to my left. Quite muddy and wet underfoot at the moment, even though I'm on an incline, or a decline in this case. Exit into Woodland shortly. Nice mixed woodland here. I've just seen a nuthatch. Couldn't get it on camera though. Robin singing in the background. Point 7 here at this 3-arm finger post. Do a right. The old great tit in the background as well. So you get this footbridge, which is all well and good, but people are veering off to the right because of what awaits them on the other side. Almost impenetrable, that. So I'll join the right hand diversion as well. Standing on the third of 4 bridges. Once again, the ditches are not that vibrant with water. Passing Balcombe Lake on my left with its swans. Passing an overflow to the lake. Which is once again on my left now. And I can see some grebes in there as well as the swans. Where's it gone? Of course, diving. So that's who runs the lake. Little car park here. A couple of people out fishing today. Incidentally, Balcombe Lake feeds into Ardingly Reservoir, which we've walked past in the past. But thus far, I must admit, 12.5 years on, I'm not remembering much of this walk. Wonderful though. The track leads onto Woodward's farm on the map, but the onward journey here is clear. There are still quite a lot of styles in this county, as I've commented before, and I've been reading in South East Walker newspaper that some farmers like it that way, or landowners like it that way, because it limits access and thus keeps the numbers down, which is what I've always suspected. If that was a kissing gate, obviously there'd be more people piling through because it's easier to get over, and in a sense that suits me. Fewer numbers out here the better, but on the other hand, we do need kissing gates to replace these styles now, really do. Passing Woodward's farm on my left. Decent vista back here, around 357 feet up. Get a high point today of around 600 and a low of around 194, so some reasonably hilly terrain. Now this style is one of those broad topped ones It's not conducive to men, or females probably, as well. Quite a cockeyed style, excuse the pun. So here we go, Wakehurst estate, and this deer fence has certainly appeared since my last walk, pretty sure. Might be wrong, but I don't remember it. Mind you, as I said earlier, not much of this walk coming back to my mind at all, which is a good thing because it feels like a fresh walk. And once again, there's one of those albino fallows. Do stick out, don't they? Strange looking creature. Yeah, they got wind of me, despite the northerly breeze today. Pretty decent view despite the mist. Last time I did this walk it was November, so not a dissimilar day if memory serves. Bit brighter though if I recall. Yeah, there they go. Got some outcrops here of the local stone, which I think is sandstone. Wonderful down here. Great tits, blackbirds. I haven't heard a song thrush yet, but I'm sure they're about. And lots of stream crossings over muddy ground. Not too bad on the jet noise front thus far, but as we approach East Grinstead I'm sure that will increase. From memory, certainly know it will. Crystal clear waters in here, but I wonder if there are any PFAs in here. Been reading about PFAs in the media getting into our water system. They're invisible, but if you research that, PFAs, very worrying. I'm now in the grounds of Wakehurst Place. I do recall this section. So as you can see, we're on a High Weald circular walk here. It's just starting to spit, which is annoying because, as I said earlier, the reliable Met didn't indicate rain today. Views back from a point near Horsebridge Wood on the map. Horsebridge Wood being to my right. Quite a lot of evergreens around, as you can see. Horsebridge Wood just over there. So that refers to the building behind me, yonder, which would have been there last time, but I don't recall it. So it is a seed bank, and I do recall that now, which brings to mind the current vegetable shortage. I mean, what's happened to eating local produce in season, which is what we should be doing? I'll tell you the answer to that. Farmers now make more money out of solar panels than they do growing vegetables. So a lot of land has been lost, clearly, to these solar panels, which are going to be anachronistic not too long in the future anyway. So when we came out of Europe, we really should be self-sufficient, or as near to it as we can be, and organic. But no, the government don't seem interested in going down that route. Nice cafe and shop here. As we continue on past. Drizzle has left off now, thankfully. Just a short, misty session, that's all. Some woolly beasts are out over there. Got quite thick coats on them. Don't know what breed they are. Obviously designed for conservation. Don't look like Galloways. Although the Trust do use them in this area. They're not belted. Wakehurst is clearly associated with Kew Gardens. Google that for more information as we leave it behind now. Exiting via the North Drive to walk alongside a busy road here, I notice. But it has got a raised verge here. Next to the road you've got Beach Cottage here, which you take the bridleway next to. Beach Cottage is also doing a sideline in plants as well, interestingly, being near to the seed bank. Opposite Chidingley Wood over there, we do a right here. Interesting to note that the water level in that private lake is very good. Yet immediately in front of the gardens, next to the path that I'm about to take, the water level's not so good. Just saying. So as you can see, we're now on the High Weald landscape trail. Very decent walk indeed. Very nice walking past these bamboos. Well, at least that's what I think they are. Reminds me of Japan a little bit. As you can hear in the background, Gatwick jet noise is now starting to become an issue. The water level is not high, even down here in Sussex. Albeit that springs seem to be running everywhere. Lots of rhododendron taking over this wood, killing it. Another jet overhead. Laziness personified there. Monster energy drink. Can just chucked in the hedge. The undergrowth. Reason being, we're near humanity again. Always the way. So this 3-arm finger post, continue right past humanity, and that small cesspit in their garden doesn't half hum, even at this time of year. Passing Philpotts Manor School, passing Lamb's Philpotts Quarry. Yep, looks like a sandstone quarry to me. So, just entering West Hoathly for lunch. Just passing the Bowls Club here. So you've got the Priest House Museum here. Classic Sussex sandstone property. Now if I remember correctly, this is St Margaret of Antioch, West Hoathly. Another fine sandstone building by the looks of it, with a clock that's accurate. About a quarter of an hour behind schedule because of the muddy paths, I think. And the iron gates that I've just come through were given by William and Anne First, who lived good ages. And that is a good solid iron gate. Wow, they've got a lot of money if they can afford to keep the heating on. Good grief. We'll have a look in there after lunch. Now if I remember correctly, and I do, at this church, wonderful views and a wonderful churchyard. Worth the walk in itself, the churchyard. 5 mile in by the way now. And I don't think I even mentioned the walk number. This is book 1, walk 34. Around 10.5 miles today. And we're almost bang on 5 miles here. So ideally placed for the lunch break. And how's about this for a churchyard, eh? Slopes down to the river. Absolutely wonderful. Look at this, eh? Delightful. Now there is a seat there that I'm going to take, I think, because of the view. It's out of the way. It's not the one I used last time, mind. There's a memorial down there, let's have a look. Well, in memory of Alan Timothy Denby, who died in 2013. So the seat wasn't here last time I did this walk. Isn't that amazing? Let's tuck in. Well, I have found an even better position, and this is the seat that I sat on last time, I do believe, because it's that name First again. In loving memory of Pam First. I'm almost certain this is the seat I used last time. 96. Probably the daughter of the other two that I filmed at the gate. I think their name was First. But the view from here, as you can see, is even better. Look at that. You can see the South Downs in the distance. I think that's the South Downs as opposed to a cloud. I am wearing my glasses though. Sounds like a nuthatch over there again. Wonderful. Even on a cloudy day. And appropriately no jet noise here, or very little disturbance. Right, 2:45, lunch has been had, and very pleasant it was indeed, mainly due to this location. And as we can see here, Ronnie passed away, God rest his soul, since I was last here. But it's thanks to these furzeys that we have this wonderful little corner here. And I also noticed this inscription on this stone. See if I can get it. The kiss of the sun for pardon, the song of the birds for mirth. One is nearer God's heart in a garden than anywhere else on earth. Yeah, just about read it. Wonder if their ashes are underneath it. Possibly. I think this is one of my favourite church locations actually. I can't remember them all over the years, but having been refreshed about this one, certainly an excellent and peaceful position for lunch. I also caught sight of this UV panel down there, which obviously would have appeared since my last visit, and that is a good use of UV panels in a large garden for the sole residents, probably with a bit of feed into the system with any excess that they make. They've got a big house and a big garden, so that's good. Can probably afford it as well. But what is not good is UV panels eating into our agricultural land. I noticed in China in 2004, most properties over there had them up on the roof, even back then. So they're way ahead of us. And we did have a little shower of rain whilst I was eating my lunch, but I didn't notice it because of the Scots pine above me there, providing a bit of shelter. Can hear the jets though, can't you? And that nuthatch has been consistent throughout my lunch break, obviously seeking a mate. Look at that, March, does that say March 1626? Amazing. So here we are, inside St Margaret's. Not sure I got in here last visit. All the chairs are mobile as opposed to pews, which enables them to use the space wisely, I guess. We're in the Diocese of Chichester here, I notice. Interesting. All the lead glass is still here. Wonderful. What a wonderful memento. Each family is remembered with a little crest. God rest their souls. And thinking that war is still going on, in Ukraine a year hence. Or a year thence. Another war memorial. Looking back to the entrance. And I do like that blue. Lovely. Yes, as I thought, those other Thursies must have been their children, or one of them was a child. Information panel here about West Hoathly as the clock strikes 3. Opposite you've got the Cat Inn, possible lunchtime stop. The old bus stop here. Godwin and Charlotte King, 1948. Bit of local history there that I don't know about. South Down. I remember filming this previously, I'm sure, all those years back. West Hoathly Heritage Trail. And of course it's now a lot easier just to Google that and find out what it's all about. Passing the village hall. Former fire station, now transformed into toilets, ladies and men's, all part of the heritage trail. Looks like they lost their post office a long time ago. It's now an interior design shop. Of course, the interior design shop could act as the post office as well, I suppose. Now you can see how far London is again. And that's interesting, the 1935 Jubilee. Don't know if you can see that, but that's what it says. 1935 Jubilee. Past the old garage, which is still selling Bentleys and Rolls Royce, as it was last time I was here. Wonderful example there. Amazing. Don't know if that notice was there last time. It looks relatively new, but it might simply be a replacement for one that I might have recorded previously. But that's excellent work by Mr. Gravetie. Fantastic. As I walk down this sunken hollow, typical of Wealden landscapes, and this section is certainly a lot better underfoot. So let's see if I can catch up those lost 15 minutes or so. Well, as you can see, the sun's out now. Wonderful. Walking through Gifford's Wood, which on my right is mainly Scots pine, and the remnants of the original woodland are on my left to form a kind of boundary. Back to being pretty slippy underfoot again. Much easier walking now. I've just seen a tree creeper but couldn't get it on camera, unfortunately. Yeah, it turned out a pleasant afternoon now. Now on a wide sandy track. Coming up to a railway line soon, I believe. The heritage line. So crossing this wonderful heritage line, which I do recall on my last visit here, looking north towards Kingscote station, and south through the woodland. Looks wonderful. I must give it a go sometime. Can't remember the name of the heritage line though, that's the trouble. If you look up Kingscote station, that'll tell you which line it's on. Those 12.5 years have addled my memory. And as we look at what I believe are vines over there, the railway is of course the Bluebell line. Came to me through the woods there. Onward journey straight ahead under the transmission wire. Wonderful scenery. I can't film behind me because of the sun now. Totally unforecast that. Good old Met. But I'm not complaining. A wonderful bonus. Look at that. Wonderful. Across this vineyard. Do love to see this. Reflects the changing climate, and certainly wasn't here 12.5 years ago. even in that short time. There were a couple of vineyards, but not as many as I'm seeing these days. Denby's being the obvious one. Jet noise again though. Rock climbing hooks on these rocks with Wealden Reservoir just coming into view in the background there. Hopefully we'll get a better view of that shortly. And that's a bit better, but the transmission wires are in the way. Glorious. Information panel here about Stone Farm Rocks, SSI. BMC, British Mountaineering Council, own and manage this site for climbing and practice. Google that if you're interested. That's a pretty extensive reservoir. I can't get a good shot of it at the moment. Now following a quiet track with Weir water on my right, but still can't get a good shot of it. Yeah, there's some of it. Going towards the west. Even a pile of earth gets in the way. Totally agree with that. Helps stop the spread of invasive species. New Zealand pygmy weed, Himalayan balsam and signal crayfish. Now on the Sussex border path, apparently. Still can't get a good shot of the reservoir though. Something tapping in that tree over there, but I can't see it. Likely a greater spotted woodpecker, I would have thought. But like I say, I can't see it. See, when Don Smith here died, or in his lifetime, he would have had a view of the Weirwood Reservoir from this position. Not much of one today though. These signs, per Natural England, are only meant to be in place whilst the livestock is actually in the field. Not a permanent fixture. Just for the record. Moving away from the Weir now, Wood Weir Reservoir. One final view back as we head inland towards East Grinstead. Got about an hour of daylight left now, with sunset being 5:30-ish. More fallow in amongst the sheep, which will be interesting. I think they're fallow. Might not be. Can't see any sort of spots on them to make them row. Interesting. Well, as we saw, I guess he moves the sheep around too frequently to replace the sign as and when. Certainly are sheep in this field, so we'll let him off. Now walking through Jenkins Wood on the map, and I notice the song thrushes are starting to sing again. They seem to prefer the sunshine when the sun's out, unlike earlier. Can't blame them. Well, there's a wonderful finale, eh? It's about a foot deep in places. Good test of your Gore-Tex. And ahead of us there, East Grinstead. There is one of said songbirds, song thrush. Lovely as the day quietens down. Very lofty position for that church in East Grinstead. Now passing through Sunnyside Recreation Ground per the map. This brings us out opposite the old Dunning's Mill, which as you can see is being refurbished but is open apparently. There's been a lot of boardwalks today, reflecting the underlying water here in the High Weald, but not as much as I've seen in the past, reflecting the dry winter we've had really. Seeing what appears to be the remnants of a magpie here reminds me that the kite I saw on my last walk and reported to the RSPB via What3 Words worked brilliantly. Within 2 days, the detective from the RSPB had been to the site based on my What3 Words address, backed up by the grid reference, put the bird in a bag, and it's now sitting in their freezer at Sandy, so awaiting an autopsy, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of what killed that bird. But that just goes to show how brilliant What3 Words is, and why all walkers should have it on their smartphone for reporting both footpath faults using the photo mode backed up with a grid reference or eastings and northings, or for reporting wildlife issues. Can't praise it enough. And funnily enough, the detective at the RSPB lives next door to one of the inventors of What3 Words. Small world, eh? And another lovely finale. Okay, I'm going to finish the walk here. 11.48 miles in 5 hours 3 minutes. I've managed to make it a mile longer than forecast. Don't know how, but nonetheless a very good quality walk. A bit muddy in places underfoot, but nothing like as bad as it could be. Some great views, very peaceful, save for the jets from Gatwick in a few places, but otherwise a good quality walk, that highly recommended. So that's book 1, walk 34, Balcombe to East Grinstead completed. Let's see what awaits in the Sainsbury's opposite in terms of a cup of hot drink. Till the next time.